Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm up to the family cabin. The cabin was built in the 50s and it's been in the family for 3 generations now. Bark beetle has come through every year for years and we'd lose 1 or 2 trees. There's 1.5 acres of ground here. So like I say, for the past 30 years I've been coming up here and I've cut a lot of trees down, small trees. The bark beetle has attacked a few trees, maybe 15, 20 trees over the last 30 years. We lose a few every year. But 3 years ago, with the warmer temperatures, and I guess you could chalk it up to climate, the bark beetle came through with a vengeance. And these trees, more of a lodgepole pine, they got hit pretty hard about 3 years ago and we lost a lot of trees. And the spruce, the blue spruce was pretty much left untouched. And they didn't really hit too many of the small trees. We have some fungus that's hitting the small trees. Then 2 years ago, the spruce beetle came in and it was devastating. And I'll walk you up onto the upper lot and you'll see the devastation. So this is the upper lot. This is actually an area of the lot that I've been clearing. Like I say, when the trees first started dying out, we were counting how many trees there were that I was going to have to fell. And I started thinking about all the work, and I'm adding up the years, and as the trees are dying, more and more and more. Like I say, I stopped counting how many were dying. This is old growth. I don't think any of it has ever been cleared. It was dense, mostly spruce trees. The blue spruce was so large and it's had so much heavy shade. The forest floor didn't really have much of a chance to grow. So this was just devastating. And you can see the small trees that were on the fringe of the property, those got hit this last year with a fungus. So between the beetle and the fungus, there wasn't much left here. And I started looking seriously about how much time this was going to take, and there was no way I would be able to handle all of this in my lifetime. We were looking at probably $40,000 to $50,000 to hire somebody to come up and clear these trees, and it has become a fire hazard. This used to be a fire break. These trees were trimmed up fairly high, and the Forest Service had figured that if there was ever a fire that came through here, this was the area where it would be easiest to manage and take care of. So the association, they were able to work with the Forestry Service, and wow, these guys were amazing. In 1 week, the hotshot crew from the Forestry and the county and the state and the local government here came through and wanted to make this fire break more manageable. And you can see these guys were amazing. They did more in a week than I could do in my lifetime. You can see with these stacks will come back up November, just before heavy snow, and they're planning on burning all of these stacks. But the logs, the bucked up wood, those will be our firewood. I will never be able to use this firewood. My daughter will be the next generation to own the property, and I don't think she would ever be able to burn the firewood in her lifetime either. So it's quite a project. Even the hotshot crew, when they first came in, they had commented that, yeah, we're going to turn this lot into a park setting. It's going to be beautiful. And I think even they were shocked by how much work and how many dead trees and just what all was involved in this lot. This isn't the park setting that they had in mind. We will burn these piles of slash, which is all the branches. There's a lot of money here. If I split all of this, I do have a power splitter, so I can split a lot of this wood and sell this wood, but it's going to take my wife and I a lot of hours to split and to transport. I've got a pickup truck. You can imagine a pile like this will fill a truck bed pretty fast. And these are just one of many, many, many piles of wood. So it's pretty devastating what a bug can do. It's a shame to think of what will happen to this forest in the future if the bark beetle keeps returning. Haven't seen many signs of the beetle returning this year, but it's still early in the season. It's in July. Typically we start seeing the beetle nesting into the bark come August and September. I'll show you a tree that actually survived the beetle. It's rare to see where the beetle does actually attack a live tree and the tree is able to fight it off. This is how it starts. The lodge poles, the beetles start fairly close to the ground. They burrow in and they hatch their eggs. The larva then gets underneath the bark. This is a blue spruce. When they hit a spruce, they attack underneath that bark, and within just weeks the bark is falling off the tree, and the tree can no longer get the moisture and the nutrients that it needs, and they go fast. And when they turn, the needles just drop. It's pretty amazing to see what a little bug and a little larva can do. But here's another tree that has actually survived. You can see how the sap is just crying out of the bark. The sap, if the sap can close off all of the holes, it'll actually choke out the beetle. It did lose a lot of its lower branches, but as it gets up into the tallest areas of the tree is still surviving. This tree will most likely make it. This is another tree that you can see the weeping and the sap. This tree is still alive, but you can see this is one of those that we term as this tree is dead. It just doesn't know it yet, because the bark is just riddled. So that this side of the tree, this is actually the north side, is completely devastated. This bark will just fall off. Now, the south side of the tree is still healthy. It's got healthy bark. But like I say, it can't survive that. It can't survive losing 50% of its bark. So even though there's still a lot of green needles, this tree is just not healthy enough to survive. So this is another one that we'll lose. But this is typically what we see first. You can see the bark on the ground. Pieces of bark start falling off. Once you start seeing chunks of bark that large being shed, the tree typically goes fairly quickly. Man, hats off to the hotshot crew. They're always looking for something to do this time of the year before fire season really hits. If fire season hits really hard and we start getting some forest fires in some of the remote areas, then they'll be busy putting out fires. But luckily for us, there's no fires. I'm hoping we don't have any more fires, so we can keep the hotshot crew doing this kind of work and preventing the devastation that can come along, that can wipe out more forest from the bugs as well as from the fires. And then we've got these great old cabins that are, like I say, it's going on 4 generations. These can easily be lost in a forest fire. So a big thank you and a round of applause for the hotshot crew, for the county, the federal government, the state, for really getting all of the people together to make all this happen. It's not just our lot. There are many, many lots in this area that look like this.